Let's turn now to Haroun Rahimi. He's an associate professor at the American University of Afghanistan and joins us from Italy. Haroun, we've heard warnings and dire predictions, especially from the World Food Program. 23 million Afghans are on the brink of starvation. That's more than half of Afghanistan's population. But are these warnings, if you will, falling on deaf ears? What is the responsibility of the United States and its allies here?
Obviously, this is a very dire situation, and the actions and responses that we've seen so far have not matched the urgency of the crisis, the scale and the urgency of the crisis. There have been some positive developments lately. The U.S. have issued a number of exemptions from this sanction schemes. The UN has exempted humanitarian aid delivery from this UN sanctions. The World Bank has redirected some of the funds it was holding for reconstruction of Afghanistan to UNICEF and WFP to help basically revitalize the health sector and deliver some food to those facing malnutrition. But the progress has been incredibly slow still. Most people you talk to say they have not received no help, and most of the focus has been on humanitarian response, which means there is huge issues of unemployment. The economy still has no prospect of recovering. And simply, as many experts have stated this, you cannot run a 40 million people country just based on humanitarian aid alone. There's a need for the actual economy to get restarted, and we are far away from that actually happening.
So Haroun, what needs to happen to jumpstart the Afghan economy, and how much these billions of dollars, nearly $10 billion in frozen Afghan funds, should that be released, and could that make a big difference here?
Obviously, the release of funds is not a panacea. It is going to allow it's going to ease the liquidity crunch that has caused numerous problems for those who are trying to help Afghans, for the ordinary Afghans who are trying to access their savings, to Afghan merchants who are trying to import the country. So this has been a major impediment. But there's a lot more that needs to be done for the actual economy to restart. The UN has asked for upwards of $8 billion to actually deliver some of the basic services that most Afghans rely on: education, health, critical infrastructure, electricity, and such. It just tells you the scale of the problem. And there is one series of actions that need to be taken for the moment, for the urgency of the moment, for this winter, for people to survive. There also needs to be a longer-term view of what is going to happen in Afghanistan, in terms of what Afghan's economy is going to look like, what its political governance system is going to look like, and how the issue of Afghans who wish to have a life survive beyond this winter in Afghanistan. What are there going to be? What are their options? How they can actually be supported? And no one has come up with a clear answer to these questions. And the UN is asking for more and more money, but a lot of people are saying that in the past, a lot of money being sent into the country through the NGOs and INGOs actually did not end up making the country better for most. It just ended up creating more corruption.
And Haroun, before we run out of time, I have to ask you about Taliban's promises. I mean, there are still restrictions on girls' education, on women's rights. A majority of secondary school remain shut for girls in most provinces. So what is their responsibility, and could that also go a long way in building trust with the international community?
Absolutely. I think the trust is the key word, and the burden is on the Taliban to deliver on the promises they've made to the Afghan people primarily, as well as to the international community. And they have fallen very much short of this. And some critiques of a larger scale development help beyond humanitarian aid to Afghanistan, some critiques are saying that we don't want to reward these kind of behavior on the side of Taliban because there is more that they should be doing. There is more that they can be doing, but they're choosing not to do that to reward some of their bases inside the country, the narrow, small support within their fighters. And they're basically choosing them over promises made to the international community and the livelihood of most Afghans for whom education is key, because that's the way they can see their children having a chance at a better life than themselves.